Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming today. And to start off, I just want to thank the organizers and the sponsors for making this conference possible, as well as the lovely Chipo, who's going to MC for us today. But also, I want to just thank Sonia Kunal, who's been tirelessly for 10 years now running this conference and making sure that there's a forum where we can come and we can discuss these interesting topics around blockchain and crypto. And so I just wanted to say a special thank you to Sonia for doing that. And, I had I was honored 10 years ago to be at the very first one of these conferences. Although in those days, it was called the Bitcoin Africa Conference. And of course, now we have moved into a whole world where we have blockchain. And what's very important to note, though, that the word crypto doesn't appear here. Because, of course, crypto over the last 10 years has a lot of baggage, the sorts of baggage that we don't really want to drag around with us, especially considering we've got regulators and entrepreneurs and businesses here, people who are not trying to create an anarchistic world where we can just do whatever we want. We want to try and take this technology that's been bestowed upon us, originally from Satoshi Nakamoto, and of course countless innovators throughout the decade, in fact more than that, and we want to try and build a world. But, the title of this topic, as you can see, is The Bitcoin Boom That Wasn't. And as I said, when we first started this conference, when it was the first one that came out, it was the Bitcoin conference, because there was this idea that this new technology was going to transform the world. It wasn't going to be something that we can speculate on and invest in. It was something that was going to bring low-cost digital cash payments to the world. If you remember, the title of the Bitcoin white paper was a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And of course, this ideology crept in very early on when people started talking about things like permissionless and unconfiscatable and unseizable and untraceable. This anarchistic element that crept in. And so what I want to do now is I want to take us on a 10-year, let's say, retrospective of what has happened in terms of that original vision. We can call it Satoshi's vision for what Bitcoin should be. And we can see, has that vision actually been realized? Do we have a world today where billions of people around the world can now make very low-cost digital cash payments for school fees or sending across border? Do we have, and have we come any closer to that Bitcoin vision? Now, I want to start off by just quickly describing what was my talk when I gave that first talk in Cape Town 2015. It was at the Bitcoin Africa Conference. What I had invented this way that people could make payments for electricity. I had built Bitcoin into the smart metering technology that I'd been working with at the startup. And in the audience, what I did was I brought this demo, and I brought this little light bulb with a smart meter. And I said, all right, guys, I'm going to do a live demo. And what I want somebody in the audience to do is I want you to go and pay for electricity with Bitcoin. I put a QR code up there. There's a little light bulb attached. And somebody, maybe one or two people, then sent R1.40, around about, because that's what I asked for, to the meter. And about 2 or 3 minutes later, while we were there, I was hoping that it would work. And of course, live demos, there's always something that happens. Boom, the lights went on. And that was an incredible demonstration of the power of Bitcoin. Somebody didn't have a bank account. They just had a Bitcoin wallet. And they could make a low-value payment at very low cost. And it arrived in a couple minutes. And what a demonstration of Satoshi's vision. But of course, over the years, that vision has been lost. Nobody thinks about payments anymore when they're talking about Bitcoin. What do they talk about now? Store of value. This incredible concept that, when you first naively come into it and you start saying, all right, cool, what is this? It's a store of value. And immediately the person who's the sort of unsophisticated person will say, value. That means some kind of benefit, right? So you're saying that there's a stored benefit into holding these Bitcoins. This is a question now that we can explore and figure out. But a very important thing, though, is this idea of cash. And cash isn't anonymous. When Satoshi Nakamoto built Bitcoin, he didn't intend to create this anonymous system. this word decentralization has become the most overused word and misunderstood word in all of crypto. When Satoshi Nakamoto came up with this idea of decentralization, it wasn't to create an unstoppable system, one that couldn't be controlled and that governments couldn't shut down, whether they wanted to or not. This word decentralization has now morphed into this sort of anarchistic view on what this is, something that is so important to society and yet something that the man is going to always want to come down on and manipulate. You know, the origins of Bitcoin, financial crisis, inflation, and all that. What everybody thought was, well, what we need now is we need a money that governments and people and politicians can't manipulate. So what we need to do is we need to create a decentralized system. So no matter how hard they try, they can't go and transform that. And so the journey from cash into money became what was so prominent around Bitcoin. Cash and money, very different things. So we have a disconnect. So we now have this shift in narrative. And not only that, but everybody now is excited about this Bitcoin dream. I mean, it's called, the title is called The Bitcoin Boom That Wasn't. How can I say there's been no boom? I mean, Bitcoin BTC is now at $90,000. We have all these ETFs. Larry Fink, BlackRock. Michael Saylor betting the farm on Bitcoin. Donald Trump promising that he's going to buy 1 million BTC. And of course, everybody's riding that hope, riding that dream that if all they could do was just buy a tiny little bit of BTC, then all their dreams would come true. They would suddenly be billionaires because now it's going to be pumped to the moon. And that is now the problem that has now crept into this original vision that Satoshi had of a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, something that can be cheaper than all the mobile monies and payments that we have today. We're looking at PayShap and looking at M-Pesa. The way that Bitcoin was created was that it was going to be a low-cost cash system. And another important thing is this idea when I said about decentralization. When Satoshi created decentralization, did he create it to be unstoppable? Now, if you think about miners, and now this is probably going to amaze some of you, but Satoshi Nakamoto built the proof-of-work system for mining for accountability. What he wanted to do was he wanted to create an accountable system that could be regulated, that could be monitored, that could be controlled. That is what mining is all about. The reason why proof-of-work exists is so that miners are forced to become large enough so that they become accountable institutions. And if money needs to be seized, if money needs to be confiscated, then there are these mining institutions, large, accountable, massive server farms, staff, board of directors. They are the visible ones. And this is why proof of work exists. Everybody thinks, well, proof of work is this massive resource, intensive process to make sure that nobody can control Bitcoin. The reason why proof of work exists is to keep the system honest. Satoshi Nakamoto used honesty in the Bitcoin white paper over and over again. What does honesty mean? Honesty means doing the right thing. Why do you do the right thing? Because you don't want to get nailed. You don't want to get into trouble. You see? So this is the whole misconception of what Bitcoin was meant to be. Bitcoin was never meant to be unstoppable. It was never meant to be unconfiscatable. I mean, think about the transparent nature of the Bitcoin ledger. It is traceable. You can trace every single payment throughout the system forever. It's pseudonymous, not anonymous. What does pseudonymous mean? It means you can see what's going on, and if you need to, you can expose that information, auditors, tax, whatever, but you're private. That is the nature of Bitcoin and how far we have now come. Of course, now the whole messaging is around trying to be decentralized, maximally decentralized, nodes running millions of nodes that do nothing, and a world now where instead of us focusing on building businesses that can actually help humanity, and not help as in make them rich, but help the vast majority of people who will never be touched by BTC, who all they want in life is to be able to reduce the cost of a payment. If you think about the cost of payments today, they are exorbitant and they hurt billions of people around the world, specifically across the African continent, thinking about transfer of payments. So this is now the thing that has happened. The reason why we don't have a Bitcoin boom, we've got a BTC boom, is because we've lost the vision. And we've deluded ourselves into believing now that this is all about getting rich and about avoiding the evils of inflation. And of course, a very important thing, of course, is this whole speculative nature now that we have, where now it's not about just one Bitcoin. Now there's a billion of these cryptos out there. And everybody is just flipping these and trading these and exchanging these and having a great time. But if you think about what's going on there, there's no value creation. When you just look, and I don't want to point out, I've got friends who have exchanges, Luna and Vala, of course, I mean, these are people I know and I appreciate, but that hasn't helped. It hasn't helped that people are now looking at these things and saying, this is about investing. The worst word that you can use in crypto is investing, because what are you investing in? And don't say you're investing in technology. We don't choose what technology, what wins. The market, when you talk about the market, and we talk about people trading and the market deciding which is the most valuable crypto, look at BTC, it's $90,000. It must be the best, right? No, we're not choosing what is the best. Who chooses that? The entrepreneurs and the innovators, the ones that actually create the tools that we can use. It's the tools that win, not this speculative mania that we live in today. This word investment, if a casino said, come and invest in a hand of blackjack, that would be laughable. You see, they don't have the guts to be able to say that. But yet we have now this world where we can say, go and invest in crypto. You're not investing in anything. You're investing in a dream. And all you have is FOMO, because you're just seeing people around you just making money. It seems like a magical thing. Think about that concept of store of value. What does value mean? It means benefit, something that gives you a benefit. If we look at gold, it's a store of value. Why? Because gold gives you a benefit. You can wear it. You can put it in your teeth. You can use it in electronics. Gold has a benefit to us. But when you look at BTC, what benefit does it have? The only benefit it has is that you're going to be waiting for a greater fool to come along at some point and pay you more than you paid for it. So we're living in a myth. We all have a delusion. We think that now that this technology, because we don't understand it, is smarter than us, and all we need to do is just hope and trust and pray that this is going to be the next big wave. Of course, we've got AI now, and we look at AI, and it's another big boom that's happening. But AI gives you a benefit. It helps you write articles. It helps you create images. It does something for you. But what is crypto doing for you? Nothing. And we've moved away from what the original benefit of Bitcoin was, that it can provide low-cost payments. Now, someone might say, well, Bitcoin, I mean, what benefit does Bitcoin give you? And I'm talking about Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin. I'm not talking about BTC. What benefit does it give you? Remember what Bitcoin is. It's supposed to be this distributed ledger. And what does a ledger do? It stores information. And you can use that in your businesses. The first conference that we had in 2015 in Cape Town, there were companies there doing supply chains, doing provenance of goods through. There were people talking about all sorts of innovative technologies, innovative ways to use this ledger, this distributed ledger that was immutable. And that is the benefit that Bitcoin is supposed to give you. But now when we look at BTC, you can't do any of that stuff now. The fees are too high. It's not about using. You don't use BTC. You hodl it. You buy it, you put it on your hardware wallet or on your exchange, and you sit and you wait and you wait and you wait, and eventually you are like, I need the money, I'll sell it or whatever. So we've completely lost the original vision of Bitcoin, and we've gone down a complete rabbit hole that's been driven by greed and desperation. We all want to make money. We all want to succeed. And it feels like this is a new way of doing that. And yet it's just a big spiked bowl of Kool-Aid that we're all just dreaming about. So what I want to say to you guys is this, is that go back to the idea of utility. Go back to the idea of innovation and providing benefits to human beings. Now, we have a lot of regulators in this audience today. And this is why I like this conference, because this is not a crypto conference. I went to the Kenya Blockchain and Crypto Conference, it was called. And I said to the organizers, get rid of the word crypto. That's not going to help your cause. Regulators don't want to know about crypto. If you're talking about blockchain, yes, that sounds cool. Something that's regulatory compliant, that follows all the rules. You can do KYC. Sure, let's stay on that blockchain trip. But as soon as we start talking about this BTC and we use words like unconfiscatable, uncensorable, unseizable, untraceable, all we're doing is we're hurting ourselves. And we're sucking people, normal people out there, into this great big mess that's only going to harm us. We have to start taking a bit of a reality pill. So that's what I want to just leave you with today, is this idea that the original vision of Bitcoin was not about making money. The only way you can make money in Bitcoin was by building a service, by providing value to people. This idea now that we can go and invest in crypto and we can flip and trade cryptos and there's a store of value there, you don't have to be a PhD to see that there's something wrong there. You can be a child. And if you say to a child, this is a valuable thing, they'll say, what can I do with it? Nothing. Well, what's it for? Holding. What must I do with it next? You can sell it. I mean, can you see the irony here? Is that we all think we're too smart for our own good. And we think, well, maybe, there's something special here that we can't see. There isn't. There's no such thing. So let's try and come back to this idea of Satoshi's vision. Now, a very important thing to note as well is that we don't only have one version of Bitcoin out there. There are many versions of Bitcoin. And a very important thing to note is that the original Bitcoin still exists. And if you are an entrepreneur, and if you want to actually help people, and you want to provide value to people, and you want to make the world a better place, don't sell them crypto. That's just selling them a dream that is most likely going to come crashing down around us. It's happened before. I remember in 2000, it was my first startup. In fact, it was 98. I had a little tech startup. By 2000, I had to sell that business. .com crashed. It was a tech startup, an internet startup. The world went through this before, where we were all excited about these technologies. We all piled in. We didn't want to miss out. And it all came crashing down. But of course, there was a little bit of value in there. Amazon.com, Google, they all came out of the .com crash because they were providing value to people. They were providing utility and use cases to people. What is going to most certainly happen in this crypto world that we live today is there's going to be another collapse. Now, we might be seeing the ties right now. We might not be. Donald Trump is going to be in office now for 4 years, and he can keep the promise alive for the next 4 years that he's going to be buying these million BTC. And of course, if you guys want to take a punt, in other words, you want to take a gamble, well, that's up to you. But don't delude yourself and don't delude others that this is now investing and this is now a sure thing. Those guys, Michael Saylor, Larry Fink, those guys are going to be the poster child, the children of this new collapse that is going to come, and the greatest collapse that who knows that has ever happened. Move to value. Start looking at how can we now use these tools to actually help people. Move away from this concept of investing, because you're not investing in anything. You're investing in hope and dreams. Go back to Satoshi's vision, and then we can realize this wonderful vision that he had, which is trying to create an honest system, a regulated system, a compliance system. That's what Bitcoin was. If you understand Bitcoin, you realize that's what it was. It's now moving away from that. If you think about BTC is now just turning it into a software project and trying to make it anonymous and trying to make it decentralized so that nobody can stop it. They've taken out signatures, they've done all sorts of crazy stuff to it. That's not the vision that Satoshi had. Go back to the vision he had, which is low-cost digital cash payments for the world. That's where you're going to see value. And that's where, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be able to build value and build a future for yourself. So I want to leave you with that, all right? I certainly want to engage with as many people as I can while I'm at this conference. Look, I'm a very controversial person. inside this crypto space. I've been around for a very long time in crypto. Since 2011, I've been pursuing this vision. I've been trying to bring Bitcoin payments to the world, but unfortunately, crypto has completely sideswiped me in that goal. But I'm staying true to that vision. And with my business, Centbee, I'm still trying to make a payment system. I'm trying to compete with mobile money like M-Pesa, trying to bring low-cost digital cash payments to the world. But it's hard. Because when I go out there and I say, look, I've got this digital cash wallet, they say, oh, is it crypto? No, it's not crypto. Then what is it about? What's it for? Nobody wants to know. They just want to know, can I make money from this thing? So what a pity. What a pity that we had such a wonderful thing 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. Something that we were all excited about if you knew about Bitcoin then. We all had this wonderful vision. We all were excited about bringing low-cost payments to the world. Wow, unbanked, underbanked. Let's go and save those people. But now we're not that anymore. Now we're something else. Now we're selling dreams and hope, false hope. And it's going to hurt so many different people out there. So to the regulators, I want you to know that the way Bitcoin was originally devised was not as this anarchistic, decentralized system. It was meant to work with the system. It was meant to have KYC, and it was meant to do and allow you to do anti-money laundering. It was meant to be a regulated space, but crypto has taken us away from that. By all means, go out and destroy crypto. I would love to see that. Those guys are trying to fight you. They might come and say, no, don't worry, we're trying to play with you, but they're not. Their mantras are uncensorable, unseizable, and unconfiscatable. Move back to Satoshi's vision and see how this can not only help the world, but it can also help your own systems as well. Thank you very much.